Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres, and I came across something over the last couple of days that I think is it's a concept, and for me anyway, I've been thinking about it a lot. Maybe I have too much time to think about stuff, but okay, yesterday I was out here and I was noticing this vine. Okay, see this vine? It looks like, you know, a squash vine or a pumpkin vine, and it's really taken off. I mean, it's the time of the year when that stuff really goes. And I looked through it, and to my chagrin, I found these. Now, these are kind of all over the place here, and we just call them gourds. And I'm not really an expert on gourds, but if you cut this open and smell it, you would not want to eat it. So I picked one of them yesterday, and I'm looking at it. What a magnificent specimen it is of handiwork. And then for the fun of it, I just cut it in half just to see. And I'm right here by the chickens, so I threw it in with them. And the result this morning was they had pecked everything out of it. Now, this one doesn't do the operation justice. This one is about half eaten. But the one that I picked out this morning, and of course I showed it to the kids, and then they put it on their heads, and it was a big joke and stuff, but then it was going to be a mask, so we had to cut some eye holes in it and stuff. So now it's destroyed, but got me to thinking. In the aviation world, we have this saying. It's called Murphy's Law. And if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. That's Murphy's Law. And I've seen that a lot in my aviation world life. Things do go wrong, but that's a totally different system. See, that's a system where we take plastic and steel and oil and we put it together, and then we make this machine that's going to fly, right? So I wouldn't exactly call that the natural world, but it's a principle that I've grown to know and understand. Murphy's Law. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. Well, here in this system, I guess this would be called an ecosystem or a biosystem. You know, I have everything here from cows to chickens to pigs, all kinds of different species, vegetables, grasses, trees, and it goes on from there. And then when we get into the microbiology life, it's just a cluster of biology that's here. And you would think that in a system like that, if it could go wrong, there's plenty of opportunity for it to go wrong. And that was precisely what was going through my mind when I picked this, because these things have grown on the compost pile, on fence lines, out by the road, in the garden. They've grown everywhere. And we don't really know why, because we don't plant them. They seem to cross-pollinate with everything. And then I wind up with tons and tons of these, and they get big. They get really big. And usually we just use them for target practice or baseball practice or whatever. We do all kinds of things with them, but I never really thought about feeding them. I never thought of it, right? And now that I fed a couple of them to the chickens, and they completely ate them, completely. They, on the other one, they took everything out of this except the shell, and it was actually, it dried out overnight very, very nicely, and it was hard, right? So what is this, about 5 pounds right here of food? I can't eat it. I suppose I could too if I had to, but I'm not gonna eat it with butternut squash hanging around here, and crookneck squash and all kinds of the other squash and zucchinis. I mean, with zucchini around, you're not gonna eat this if it doesn't taste good. And these don't taste good. They don't even smell good on the inside. But I wouldn't feed butternut squash to my chickens, but I will feed these to my chickens. And I rode around real quick and looked, and there's probably a ton of these things all over the place on this farm. And instead of going and ripping these vines out now, and I would do that because this is the time of the year when they run. They will run. You watch. This vine runs a foot or two a night. I mean, last week it wasn't even close to my boat here, and now it has gone past the boat and it's climbing up over the boat. So by the end of the growing season, when these start to get cold and wither and die, they'll be way out there. And so will the rest of them that are on the farm. I'm going to let them go. And I don't think that I've discovered the ultimate use of these, but there is a use for them. Now, let's say you can harvest a couple of tons of these, and they grow really easy, and you have a field where you can just grow tons of them. These are extremely hard-shelled. I could probably put these someplace where they wouldn't freeze, and I could feed them all winter long to these chickens, which is nice to be able to feed them something that's, you know, that's not dry, you know. So here's the amazing thing about this. Yesterday, when I saw this vine, I was like, damn, it never ends. There's always something that's happening to confound what I'm trying to do. But now today, my attitude towards this vine is, this is life right here. This is giving life to me ultimately, and my family ultimately, and human beings ultimately. Even though it's not something that we, in you know, infinite wisdom that we have, decided, hey, I'll plant this, and then it will sustain my chickens throughout the winter. I didn't plan that. So the point is there's Murphy's Law in the non-natural world, and then there's, I don't know, help me with this. There's some smart people will see this. There's got to be somebody that's thought of this before, but the forgiveness of the natural world is incredible. I mean, this really could turn into a pileup, but it doesn't. It always seems to wind up at a place where, sort of in aviation, it goes to straight and level flight. It doesn't go into a dive. It doesn't go into a, you know, extreme angle attack. It just goes straight and level. It just levels out and it's forgiving. Anyway, that was my thoughts for today. We'll see where it goes, but I think it's something to look at. Anyone can farm.